Hello friends, and welcome to my satanic death chamber, which is a little bit what this lighting feels like today. I'm at my dad's house, I'm in his gazebo, the sun is going down, we're going to try and get this shot before that happens. I've been interrupted all day. I go to one room, my dad comes in, what's going on in here? What are you doing? What are these lights? Then I finally got settled in the living room, all ready to go, and my shot was literally interrupted by a shot of gunfire. My dad is trying to kill a woodchuck. So far, it's woodchuck 1, dad 0. We'll see how that goes tomorrow. Anyways, rolling.
Here it comes.
Scene 1. I'm standing in line in Walmart in Hartford, Wisconsin. Population maybe 7,000 on a good day. Ahead of me is a woman in her mid-40s. She's got a baseball cap, short denim shorts, raspy cigarette voice. She's deeply tanned. Her skin is the color and texture of Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'm just saying. This woman is wearing a t-shirt. Upon her t-shirt are printed 3 of her controversial conservative beliefs. Perhaps from some perspective, these beliefs are dubious and unfounded. She's wearing them proudly on her back. On the front of her t-shirt is an eagle skull. The eagle skull is resting on a cross made of 2 firearms. If I'm not mistaken, they are AK-57s. So I watch her. I daydream. I judge. One draws conclusions. Probably she's not a quantum physicist. Probably not a member of the Karl Marx fan club. She's probably a Trump voter. I think to myself, welcome back to Wisconsin. But you see, then she moves out of the way to slide her credit card into the credit card machine, and I notice something. A child in the front of the woman's grocery cart. A little girl, and the little girl is black. Something in me now completely shifts, okay? One's previous conclusions are now replaced by questions. You see, during the last 2 weeks since I saw this woman, I've thought a lot about her and that little black child. And I've asked myself some questions. Basic questions. What was their relationship? Mother and daughter? Was the kid adopted? Was the girl, the little tiny girl, was she her granddaughter? Was the woman babysitting the little girl? Okay? Whatever the case, the woman's rapport with the little girl was gentle and sweet and touching. Okay? The kid asked for bubble gum and she got it. But she didn't get the sugary kind. The woman was like, I don't want your mouth rotting out with that stuff like mine did. Now, I'm going to guess that if you were to take this woman into a medical lab and test her for wokeness, she would not test positive, okay? And yet here she was behaving lovingly and tenderly to the black child in her care. Watching the 2 of them, I was reminded of something that my teacher used to say, my Zen teacher. He would say, good, bad, man, woman, right, left, black, white, Hitler, Roosevelt, all of them exist in one cosmos, together. This is the Zen understanding. Let's move to a different scene now. Scene 2. It's 1 year ago. I'm sitting on the porch in the Austrian Alps at our Zen Center. A young female hiker and her friend come, say hi, they want a glass of water. They sit down, sip, we get to talking. The young woman is a Viennese documentary filmmaker. Political subjects. Oh, you're American, she says. And now she starts to do something which I've come to call Amerisplaining. There are some Europeans, when they discover that you're American, who decide to tell you all about how your country sucks, okay? They tell you why America is flawed, where America went wrong, and what you can do about it. So somehow you, as the American in the room, are supposed to answer for all your country's sins and flaws and errors. Not to go off on a tangent, but it's sort of like you're supposed to be like, gosh, European, you're totally right. Hold on. Let me get the King of America on the phone. Mr. America King, I have a European here with opinions about our country. Yeah, she's got a lot of them. and they're flowing out of her mouth like golden coins. My stopped-up American ears can't catch all these golden European opinions. You better get over here fast, Mr. King of America, and bring ketchup, because they think sugary tomato sauce is ketchup here. So this documentary filmmaker, who's never been to America, painted a very elaborate picture of the Trump voter for me. Stupid, deeply racist, overweight, loud, angry, overweight, cigar chopping, prone to public farting and poor grammar, and animated by a rage against change and diversity and LGBTQ rights and critical thinking and organic food and books and the female body and so on and so on and so forth. She painted a very elaborate picture of this group of 80 million Americans who voted for Trump in the last election. Now, I didn't disagree with her, okay? I mean, to me, Trump is a burning white hyperstar of narcissistic nihilism collapsing in on itself and sucking all kindness and civility and beauty out of the American political universe. He is a turd. But I don't have the luxury of just writing off 70 million, I think it's 70 million voted for Trump in the last election, and I do not have the luxury of writing them off simply because they pulled the lever for the wrong guy. Why? Because I would say maybe 35 to 40% of my very large family, whom I am home in America visiting right now, is conservative and very likely voted for Trump.
Are you sure this is okay?
Now I'm going to take you to a third and final scene. It's the year 2000, okay? George W. Bush is running against Al Gore in the presidential election. A Zen monk named Larry teaches at and runs a Zen Buddhist temple in Denver, okay? He starts telling me one day about this big dispute that he got in with a student of his. So the student has decided that George W. Bush is the devil. I don't necessarily disagree. Larry didn't necessarily disagree. But the woman thought that it was the Zen Center's duty to put a sign on the front lawn of the Zen temple supporting Al Gore. Now, the student makes a very strong argument in support of her position to support Al Gore. She says, Al Gore is very strong on the environment, and Buddhist believes that we are connected to and arise codependently with our surroundings. It's a good argument, number one. Number two, Al Gore seems to be more against war, way more against war, than George W. Bush. Al Gore is anti-slaughtering human people. That seems like a pretty strong Buddhist candidate. And yet, my friend Larry, the monk and Zen teacher at that temple, refused. He refused to put a political sign on the lawn in support of one candidate or another. I ask you, did he make the right choice? Right, wrong, good, bad, Republican, Democrat? Did Larry make the right choice, a bad choice? I don't know. I will say this, a Zen center is a well, an old, deep well filled with clean, clear water. You go to that well to replenish your cup. You go to that well to dip into the source that we all share. Good, bad, man, woman, left, right, black, white, Hitler, Roosevelt. We all share the same source. Now, after you go to that well, or practice at a Zen center, or do your personal practice, you can take that water home with you and you can mix it with whatever you want. You can mix it with art, you can mix it with business, you can mix it with family life, you can mix it with social justice, you can mix it with Republican politics, you can mix it with progressive politics, you can mix it however you want. But if we don't have a clear, clean well where we can replenish ourselves that is free of pre-mixed causes, whether it's politics or your personal ambitions or religious ideals or dogma or all your romantic and sexual entanglements, if we don't have a place where we can go, be it a Zen center, a Christian meditation retreat, or a Tibetan temple, okay? If we don't have a place where we can go, then we get no relief from, and we get no perspective on our conditional, limited, problematic, overly personal, overly political, fraught human lives. Everything is political now in America. I know it's a cliche to say, but it's true. I live in Europe. I haven't been here in a year and a half. I've just come home, and I'm here to tell you, I feel like our country is changing. I feel like, not news to you, I'm sure, but it was a bit surprising to me to see it up close and personal. I feel like our country is becoming more divided. I feel like people who disagree politically are becoming more and more siloed in their media and their affiliate group bubbles, okay? I feel like political dialogue is becoming more warlike and vicious. There doesn't seem to be conversation. There only seems to be rhetoric. And that rhetoric is manifested violently in the streets. I mean, we just had the Proud Boys and Antifa clashing in Portland. This rhetoric has consequences. One of the main reasons that Zen Buddhism continues to have a deep place in my heart is that at its best, it doesn't judge, it doesn't dogmatize, it doesn't tell you what to think or what to do or what to feel or what to believe or how to be, okay? It offers principles, wise, time-tested principles, okay? And it offers earthy, down-to-earth, salt-of-the-earth spiritual teachings or upayas that you can use to put those basic Buddhist Zen principles into practice in your daily life. So whether it's a Zen center or a good church or a fine temple or your very own personal home practice, all of these things are deep, deep wells. They go down to the source. The source. It's where you strip away your beliefs and your ambitions and your ideals and your hopes and your dreams and your dogmas, and you replenish your spirit. We all share one source. We all occupy one universe. We all live in the same unified cosmos, okay? We live on one planet. To me, this truth runs deeper than any political idea or affiliation, okay? And it's only when we manifest this truth in our lives that we can make clean, clear, wise decisions as individuals and as citizens of this awesome, seemingly troubled democracy. The only thing that can save America and maybe this planet is wisdom. It sounds corny and idealistic, but I believe it. In order to understand each other and the other side and how a woman can seemingly manifest aggressive, unwoke, hyper-conservative, redneck beliefs on the one hand and lovingly take care of a small, vulnerable, adorable black child at the very same time, we're going to need a little less rhetoric and a little more wisdom. Just before we close, I'm going to give you guys a little treat. It involves a homemade explosive that my father made just for you. Now, if you can like this video and subscribe, that helps me out. There's a link to my Patreon page. This is how I'm earning my bread and butter now, so I'd appreciate it if you can help me out. Now, it's time for explosives.
Because powder burns very slow, it's got to be confined in order to really explode. Black powder will act up much more in the open air.
Okay. Here it comes.
Are you sure this is okay? Holy
Whoa!
shit.
Oh my god, look at that.